What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Investing Bros live show. Live, we are also dumping Bitcoin. Literally within the last 5 minutes, crossed below $41,000. Goodness gracious, we are falling. If you guys watched my morning video, yes, I leaned a little more bullish this morning because I did think there's an outside chance. But I did prepare for you guys a scenario in which case we would move to the downside. And I laid out exactly how to trade it. And guess what? Despite the fact that the overall nature of my video this morning ended up being debunked and we're actually now moving away from it and going downside, that bearish scenario I played out and how to trade it is playing out perfectly. Hopefully you watched it. We're going to be covering in this video a lot of the reasons why that price is falling, what you should be expecting to the downside, because ultimately, you know, it doesn't help to know price is falling unless you know how to react to it. Should you keep longing it? Should you look for a long entry? These are the questions we need to be asking right now in the middle of this dumpage. But we also have a special guest joining on the show later on. The great trader, Magic Internet Money, is going to be with us. I think he's currently either wrapping up or on Trading Wars over there on the Crypto Wars channel. Go check them out and also make sure you check out his stream afterwards, see how he did. I was checking there for a little bit. I think he was winning. But I can't wait to get his opinion. Can't wait to get T Shroom's opinion. Speaking of the great T Shroom, the amazing co-host here on Investing Bros, I'm just the guy on the left. T Shroom, how are you doing down there in Old Gainesville, Florida? Is the dumpage hitting you worse than it is me up here in Atlanta?
Well, Tim, I'm having a really, really good day, and I'm feeling better than I deserve. And
that's good.
Yeah. I got the internet upgraded, but Tim's internet is clearly not upgraded.
Is it my internet? Yeah. Well, I'm just the guy on the left. So
he's just the guy on the left. That's right. So we are having fun. But I do have a quote here for us, and it's probably something you weren't expecting. Good manners will open the doors that the best education cannot. And that is from Justice Clarence Thomas, a Supreme Court justice, throwing one up for manners. You don't hear a lot about manners, Tim. What are your thoughts on that in this modern world we live in?
I mean, I feel like if you live here in the South, you hear a decent amount about manners. Nothing against other places. I know manners are different based off of where you're located and your culture. But I do think that when you think of the word manners, you have to think of the Southeast here in the United States. It's something you're born with, you're raised with.
Right.
We have a special way here in the South of using manners to insult people. That's how good we are at them. But back to the quote. The quote is good because, just the way you treat people, honestly, man. Opportunities in life, it's good to be smart and it's good to have education, but sometimes the greatest ways to have opportunities is to build relationships. How do you build relationships? By treating people with respect. How do you treat people with respect? You learn your manners. So Clarence Thomas, we need to fact check this, but probably from the South. And he learned his manners down here. I'm going to fact check that right now because I'm not too sure if that's true or not.
Absolutely. I think that manners can be important. I think that society kind of took it to an extreme with, the Victorian era, putting forks on one side, knives on the other side of the plate, and having the right decorum in those types of environments. I think probably went a little too far, but just eating food with your hands is probably not the right way either. What's up?
You want to know where good old Clarence Thomas was born?
Bethesda, Maryland.
Can you just guess the state? Just try the state.
Let's go Georgia.
Georgia, pinpoint Georgia is the birthplace of good old Clarence Thomas, the South, ladies and gentlemen. I'm already 1 for 1 on factoids of the day. I made my own. I didn't wait for the elf. I made my own factoid, and I got it correct. He is from the South. T-Jim gets a point also for guessing the state.
That's awesome.
So what a good start to the show. Too bad crypto's not having the same great start today.
Yeah.
As we are here on the show.
Yeah.
But we might have a new series of way we're going to do things. We're actually literally discussing it right before the show. We're going to try something out. You guys let us know how it is. We got 100 people in here. Guys, we're about to jump into crypto. We are falling. Bitcoin just got back up over 41. We'll take a look there. Of course, every time you fall, you have little bounces. Cardano, I saw, dropped below 50 cents there for a second. It just jumped back over. Solana pushing towards a level I was telling our members about earlier. And a couple others. Matic, they're all dumping. Everything's dumping. It's a sea of red out there in the crypto space. But we're going to start the show off before our guest comes here with the factoid of the day question. Middle of the show, we will get the answer. Is the elf ready this early? Is he taking a bathroom break, getting some water?
Well, Tim, we have our guest. Our guest is ready, locked
He's
and loaded. And why don't we go ahead and invite him on, and then we can get into the factoid, which is curated specifically for the two TA minds. So without further ado, Magic Internet Money, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. How are you guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. I was a little worried.
I caught a second of Trading Wars. How'd that finish? You were down,
Not go
I think,
well.
$12.
Yeah, so he ended up taking it. So what it was, I was trying to trade the previous week low. Technically, the trade's actually still open, so I'm just going to leave it. But it came down to basically a support level I was looking for on the higher time frames, which is not the end of the world. So when you only got about an hour to trade, we just kind of YOLO it. It's a good time.
Yeah.
It's not my money.
So. Yeah, I'll say
getting on there.
Big shout out to Crypto Wars, that channel. Love those guys. I remember when they introduced the show, my first thought was, well, this will be entertaining, but hopefully not too many people try to replicate it for trading. Sitting down to trade within an hour and being forced to get in and out of trades. Sometimes the best way to trade is to look at the charts and say, not right now, and just walk away. So that's not how the show flows, though. You gotta, I don't.
Yeah,
that would be something, though. What if? Yeah. Let's hear me out here. This is my next idea. Maybe I'll go on a show. What if my strategy is I go on Trading Wars and I just sit there the whole time and never enter anything, and maybe the other traders all go in negative and I win with zero profit?
I like that.
I don't know that that'll happen, but they have a rule you have to trade. Like, that is the rule. So you have to open a trade. They do this thing called a hot seat as well, where they'll pick a random coin, like on a wheel, and a random leverage. You could get 2x to like 100x, and you have to trade it. So you have to do it within like 10 minutes. It's not ideal.
All right.
And if you don't,
challenging.
Exit, if you don't exit profitably, they take another 2% off your account. So, yeah.
Okay.
It's,
cool stuff.
It's designed to make you fail, I guess, is the way to put it.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds very challenging. Well, we're so glad you are here with us today. Cannot wait to get into the markets because, of course, we've had like 4 days of boring price action. Now we're getting interesting. Unfortunately, it's in the negative direction. Well, I want to hear what you think about that. But before we do that, T-Shroom, we got to start off the show with a little bit of an icebreaker here for good old Mim. We're going to have our factoid of the day. If you get this wrong, we will deduct 2% of your portfolio as well.
Absolutely. Well, Tim, the factoid of the day is brought to you by Decrypted.tax. It's going to be the best tax solution for you if you have traded or invested in crypto. Tim and Mim, which of these men are still alive? Is it A, John Bollinger, or B, Richard Wyckoff? Let us know in the chat. What do you guys think?
A.
Yeah. So I follow John Bollinger, creator of the Bollinger Bands. Names and the title of the indicator are different. I follow him on Twitter. So if he's dead, he's got quite the Twitter post ability. We're going to go with the guy that is actively posting on Twitter, not the guy who created a trading system back in the 1920s. We're going to go with A.
All right. So we're both locking in A?
Yeah.
All right. Well, the answer to today's factoid is A, John Bollinger. So here he is, and he's an American author and financial analyst, contributor to the field of technical analysis, and developer of the Bollinger Band. And if I'm not mistaken, those names are spelled the same there, Tim. So very interesting. And he is still alive, as opposed to Richard Wyckoff, who does have a date where he died, March 7th, 1934. So there you go.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I'm not surprised. But good work there, Elf. Could tell I'm going to have a suspicion the Elf threw that question together last second. But it's good. It's good stuff. He gets his paycheck this week. Let's get over to the charts where things are popping off right now. Magic Internet Money. My first question for you. And yeah, look at this. We're looking at my screen. The move we made this morning, I want you to kind of break down. We're sharing my screen at the moment. We got to share your screen. People get to hear my take just a little bit later on in the show. Did this move surprise you this morning? Were you prepared for it? Like, were you already in a short? What are you looking at right now in the market to trigger potentially a take profit on a short position or a new long position? Let's go to his chart and hear how he breaks this down.
Yep.
Yeah. So to answer your question, I am actually actively short. I shorted 49K. So it was one of my better trades. Well, if you guys follow me on Twitter, and I know you guys do, I've been planning January to be the high for this market rally for about 6 months and looking for 49 to 50K specifically. So I preset for it. I didn't even sit at my computer and watch it. I just let her rip. There was a setup there, both in time and a pattern. And then this is kind of a new way that I like to do things. I've been working out for our group, working out levels based on time that they can use for the entire year. And I'll kind of, if you guys can see my chart, I don't know if it's up or not, but these are the levels. So what I was looking for was essentially a daily close above 47K. Obviously, we had resistance a little bit above it. And then I was looking for the next standard deviation at 41,000 to be the area I'm looking for now, which is about where we're at. We're bouncing on that level right now. So I'm actually long from this level in that trading wars account. The problem is it came down at the end of the show. So it is what it is at that point. But yeah, this is, I wouldn't say a first take profit for me, but this is a big level because below this, I'm looking for 34 and then potentially 28 as my next levels for all of 2023 or 2024, excuse me. Local setups, there was a setup for this as well in terms of just a harmonic. You guys know how much I like those. I believe it was this guy here. This would be the area that you are looking for. Where's the right boxes? I think it's, this guy. Looking for this guy essentially over time. May not get there. Technically, this is already valid because it's hit the 886 and it's made a 1618 retracement at least. So that's what you're looking for. But the ideal setup is to come down and take these lows is what I would like. I would like to see these gone over time, like the 40,000, 88 and 40,200. The problem with that is if you don't hold support here, you're going to make your way down to that 1618. Also, again, that's your yearly pivots there. And if you were just to divide up all of the price action from 2023 based on market structure and just say, okay, what's my top half of 2023 look like in terms of volume, you'll find that you have a pretty major point of control there. So you guys know how much I like time. So this would be essentially the high to low in terms of Bitcoin's price for 2023. So the yearly range, so to speak. And this is any price action above the 50% mark. And we didn't spend a lot of time up here, but your major, volume target's right around 34 as well. So a lot of things pointing to that. So I haven't actually taken any profit on that short. I'm letting it ride until there's a reason to close it. So if price does reverse from here and prove me wrong, then sure, I'll get out of that short and enjoy my longs from 16.6 some more. But I couldn't resist the opportunity to try to make some money from up here as well.
Absolutely.
Especially with the ETF news. Like, to me, that was such a good narrative to trade off of because it was a very technical area that we were looking for. Everyone knew it was a gold pocket, right? Timing was perfect on it. And I'll show you what timing looks like on that, how people could have done it themselves even. I call this the macro because that's what it is. So this was your macro bottoming pattern. This is technically a cipher, is what it's referred to. If you want to look it up, you can. But you're just looking to measure the timing of this. And so what you're doing is you're just taking the impulse length from X to A here, and then we're expanding it off of C because these should be somewhat symmetrical. And you can see that they almost are exactly symmetrical here. Then you've got your next time pivot here, which actually caught the top in July. And then our next time pivot is right here where we have our current top in January. So that's why we were looking for January. Did the same thing with XRP with you guys, actually. Very exact same setup in terms of timing and expansion, right into the gold pocket. And if you were just to look at it from a trend-based, channel, like, so this is a regression channel that I've got some custom settings on that I've kind of just come up to myself. And it's right at the EQ of it as well. Then you could pull, your gold pocket and everything starts to line up and you go, oh, everybody's so bullish with the ETF. Could make for a really great short. How do I set that up? You go to the 2022 high specifically, in my opinion, right here. And you say, okay, here's my 2022 high. Here's my gold pocket. If we come up above this level and I give it up and, get a short, I should be looking to do so. Like right here, there's your high. You came up, tagged it. Now you're beneath it. I believe you got barely a back test right here. Stop loss above the high and you move on with your life if you didn't even catch the top here. So that was, that's how I'm looking at the market. I'm looking for a correction like we always have going into the halving, essentially. Everybody wants to say this time is different. We hear it every cycle. This time is different, don't we? So maybe it will be.
Yeah, but this time's different is the problem.
Yeah, but when the charts tell me it's different, I'll believe that. Until then, I'm going to trade what I can control, and that's the technical aspect of things. So, yeah.
Man, it's been a minute since we had you here. I always love getting you on here. I always, audience, I always love to tell you guys, I love getting to watch him trade and hear him explain things with zero emotional attachment to price action whatsoever. This man is emotionally attached to making money, and he'll do that with longing, and he'll do that with shorting. I do have to ask you, though, because there are people emotionally attached. There are a lot of people emotionally attached now to shorts. People that are still emotionally attached to long. Something we've been talking about a lot recently is, despite the fact that there were scenarios to the downside, and of course we're playing those out, there still are scenarios to the upside, and there has to be, obviously, because you got to trap traders one way or the other. Let's start with talking to people who potentially are emotionally attached to a long position, and there's reasons to potentially think Bitcoin could still make a push towards 50K before the halving. How would you respond to those people? Is there still a scenario where that happens? If so, what would they need to see for that to play out or be discredited?
So realistically, you need to see the previous week point of control from when you actually set in this range, in my opinion. So I believe that's right around 46K. Let's actually do this way. I'll do that real quick. But when it comes to overall invalidation of longs, like I said, I still hold longs from lower. Like I'm kind of double dipping a bit here, and the reason why you kind of have to do that is nobody knows what's going to happen, right? We all kind of just speculate, and we are a pretty aggressive uptrend. So, like you said, there's going to be corrections, and this one is somewhat expected just because the halving, you dip into the halving almost every year. Doesn't mean you're going to do it every time. It's just, it does happen. And let's get rid of that extension. There you go. So right about here, when you made your high, you want to see this area reclaimed. It's about 46. If you wanted to do something a little more basic, you could literally just turn it onto the daily chart, and you could just say, where would I get excited again? Well, here's my last daily closure, right? In terms of that, or you could say, this is a swing fail pattern of the highs, and I need to get back above this zone. I like to put boxes on the chart, makes it easy for everyone. Just do something like this. This area of the chart is reclaimed, and you're good to go, right? I wouldn't say good to go, but you're probably going to at least make a new high. You're going to try to. You're going to take this high and maybe even run to like 52 or 53. The question is, where do I abandon my bull market thesis? Where do I go? This time is different, and oh no, this thing's going to 3K, like blockchain backer said. That's a very interesting proposition, and it's a much lower number than people I think are willing to accept, which is what makes the market so much fun. So people don't zoom out enough, and the big question on that is like, where do I abandon my love of this bull market? Is right around in this region, which, if you recall, is last year's yearly pivot. So the yearly average from the prior year, and this is your current one, which they hit it a little over 80%. So one would expect that we're going to see that and meet that. The only time we don't meet those are in really strong bull markets after the halving. So the most recent one we didn't hit actually occurred after the halving, and we'll go to a lower time frame chart now that we've established that level we wanted to establish. And you can see it was right here. So post halving, right? We're in 2021. The bull market's well underway. We're making new highs. You're not coming back to this average, not until later. And it does fill later. This is your average from 2022. So 2021's average was 47,707. You had an 80% likelihood of hitting it. And that was actually a major short area for me for that reason, because a return to the average is just that, a mean reversion. And in a truly bullish market, it would have claimed this average and carried on. But in this case, it made new lows, obviously. And we didn't know we were in a bear market, but this looked a lot like a high. And if you looked at timing and other things that were involved, then this was a good area to hedge your bets a little bit, so to speak. So where you're at now is, 34K is probably not the end of the line for price. We could go back in history again and say, this yearly pivot is very important because it is the average. But you've certainly after the low is already made, you've certainly straddled it before. See how you've come back to it, lost it, come back to it. It's still a level of support, but it's not the end all be all by any means. It's just a target. So 26,960 is an important level for many reasons. You go out to the monthly chart, and you start saying, where's this, how low could this thing go before I need to abandon ship? And it's realistically all the way down here in like the 25 to 26K region. Because if you're looking at this from a monthly chart, losing this area would look quite bad. Where do I get concerned? When you start living, back inside here, right around like 30K. If you wanted to be really, get into it, you could say 29,800, somewhere in that region, or just below here, somewhere in this region. It's more of a zone. I want to see that hold as support, because if you start giving this up, it looks like it's going to come all the way back to these lows. And then obviously the COVID things do happen, but black swans. But in reality, you have to kind of go, oh man, if I'm long from 16.6, which is where I'm long from, is it going to come back for me? Is there anything down there that's a target, that type of thing? So maybe I do take some of that hedge off, or, maybe that hedge is now paying me so that I don't have to worry about that long as much. But yeah, that's where I don't unmarry the bull market there, but if I was an emotional person, this area would really get me going. I would probably capitulate in that area if I was being extra emotional. So it's a kind of a target for me. I don't know if if we do, I'm a buyer. I think it's a great trade. I think it's a really good trade. But you had a specific setup on CME that I actually watched, and I did put it on my Twitter. I try to throw people a bone here. This was the timing for CME. I was actually looking to see if it would take the highs of 2022, whereas on spot I wasn't as in love with it, but on CME it just made more sense for some reason. And we were looking for it's called an alternate bat, where it invalidates that you were going to make a lower high, and it actually takes the high and then swing fails lower. And you've got a gap here and a gap here. So it's one of those things where, certainly targets. But yeah, the people are definitely going to get in their feelings this quarter, I have a feeling. So, and it doesn't help that the SPX is also putting in very bearish patterns I've been looking for. I've been looking for this completion for a little bit now, and we've hit it. We've hit my big blue box way bigger than I want it to be. So you've got two patterns basically telling me we're well overextended here, and that markets could be looking a little toppy. We've got timing coming in for Bitcoin in a major area. So to me, it just made sense to go and hedge. Could this get out of hand and we're going to make new lows? I don't think it's wise to get in that mindset yet. But yeah, if you started giving up on this one, I would say right here at this B leg, somewhere around the gold pocket, around 4,200. If you lost that level, then I would start to look at like 3,800 and maybe lower. And then that would coincide with Bitcoin in theory, right? So, that's the doomsday scenario. Those are doomsday scenarios. Those are things that are like, nobody wants to hear, but you asked. So it's like, all right, cool. We can talk about it. I'm not expecting it. It could happen. Yeah, it could certainly happen. So, yeah.
We got a super chat from RC Moore. RC, we're going to take a look at that later on in the show. We're going to keep going on here with Magic and Your Money, but thank you for the super chat. T-shirt, if you can copy that, just make sure and remind us towards the end of the show. I want to keep going on with the Bitcoin chart here a little bit more, and really just kind of grind into this. Again, I love getting the mind of Magic Internet Money in here. You set a level that we heard recently from another guest, Mr. Piano Matty B.
That's
Piano
right.
Matty B talked about $28,000, and we discussed it pretty in depth here over on Tuesday. What is your reasoning for 28? His was a pattern. I know you are not a pattern trader. You are very much horizontal. Look at support, look at resistance, look at pivots, make a lot of different things. You're not really a rising support, rising resistance, descending guy. You like the flat levels. What is your reason for looking at 28,000 as an interesting price level?
Sure. So it actually comes back to a pattern, believe it or not. It's a harmonic pattern, though.
Okay.
This was my plan coming into this year, essentially after July. I was looking for a pivot in October, which we certainly got, and was looking at this as an area to start building positions for shorts. And obviously it did come up and take this high, which was invalidation of this, what's called a bat. And then we had the alternate bat scenario absolutely play out. So this is technically just a different pattern, but still valid. So I did get stopped out of my initial trade and then just took the secondary trade. Very confident in the setup. So it was one of those things where you never know what's going to happen. You have to be ready for all scenarios there. So for me, you're always looking for the 50% mark on this first. So the EQ, so to speak, of your high to low, which comes in around 30,000. And then the B leg. The one thing that I really liked about it was when I was looking at it, this is the level from 2023. This is our closure right here, the zero line for the yearly volume weighted average price, meaning it's no longer a dynamic level and it's going to be stationary. That's a big level on the chart. So to me, that just kind of becomes a target, the zero. And if you go back in history, these certainly do hit at a decent rate. Zero line has been somewhat important. That was actually our top here in 2022. I believe I actually have 2021 up as well. I like to track everything, and you can see there's your top for your zero line in 2021. So the zero line's a big level. Is it a target? Not necessarily. It's just it's been hit the last few years, and it's actually been the market cycle high and bottom. So for me, it does coordinate with actually the pattern. I have it marked as Gotham here, but it's technically a bat pattern, which falls in the region of that. So this says 30,700 technically, but I'm not opposed to moving that a couple grand below on a dump like that. That's not outside of the realm of possibility by any means. So yeah, that's why. Very simple, and it just makes sense right now to do so. I saw someone do this. I think it was Eric Crown did this. I actually have this already pulled. I don't need to pull it again. It's just the overall high to low to the gold pocket, right? He put on the 236, and apparently this was brought to my attention in our Discord. If you go back to every bull market, when it hits the gold pocket, it comes back to the 236 of that same year. So, I don't think that you should always use past performance, but it's just interesting that it already correlates with those levels. So to me, I was like, okay, yeah, another way to look at things. So, yeah, that's why. That's simply why. But it's back test of support here. And again, it goes below where people think it's going to. Everyone's and their dog is eyeballing probably somewhere like this. If we were to draw a box, they're probably all saying this is the major support that you've got to hold on to right here. And it dips below that. What happens when things get a little bit below support? People freak out, they panic sell, and maybe price just wicks below it and then carries on with like a bounce. Like right here, it comes below. A lot of stop losses are going to be there. And maybe people even short because this level broke and they think it's going to go much lower and they get trapped. You never know what's going to happen at those junctures, but it certainly is in the realm of possibility. So yeah, that's why.
Okay. Yeah. So I want to potentially fact check or maybe get some clarification. So I think you said it was Crown. I almost said Tom.
That's
Crown,
where that's where it was plugged in my Discord.
Eric
Crown.
Eric Crown. When he says that every time, is he saying every time that we come in out of a bear market and we hit the gold pocket, we pull back to the 0.236, or is he saying every time?
I think that's what he was implying. Is every time we went from like the high to low. Let's see. I'm gonna do it real quick here
because I don't. So I did a very fast fact check of that, and I don't think that applies.
This one's not right here. But he was always saying you go back to the 236 after you hit your gold pocket. Like here's the last cycle. We hit the gold pocket. You've come all the way back to the 236 at 7. Was it the exact low? No, but it did come back this far. So for me, like that's why that's not out of the realm of possibility by any means.
No, that one I like. That one I really like. Are you looking on the linear chart or the log chart? I guess
I don't do log for this. I only do linear.
Well, okay, yeah. So, it doesn't matter because
this one did not though right here. This one does not. It comes back.
That's what I'm looking at there. And I was looking back at 2016, 2017. Didn't have it happen there. So.
Yeah, but to me, I look at it and I go, there's a lot of confluence there, and that's why it's mainly that zero line, that yearly VWAP closure sitting there. And for me, that's a big deal because the last 3 that we've had since moving up into this range, we've all back tested. So yeah, it's a big level to me.
I think there's a delay, and I think there's a delay, and I interrupt you sometimes. One of the things you said that I absolutely 100% love and agree with is that whenever everyone agrees on a level, you usually go a little bit either less than, you didn't say this, but you either go a little less than the level and people miss they're taking profit or taking, to take profit opportunity, or you go below and you start to freak them out and they switch. And ultimately, I know you are a chart guy. Like you are a show me the charts, I'll tell you the news, so I don't really need the news. And I know you're not complete that way. You still pay attention to the news. But it actually makes a lot of sense because what's happening right now when we break it down, right now we are going to be entering a institutional bull market where the institutions want to gobble as much supply as possible. Well, to do that, they want to do it at cheaper levels. They've got to create scenarios to scare the average retail investor into selling their supply to them. And there's nothing better that does that than fear. They could do it up high at the tops, but that's then expensive. But if they can control the fear of the retail investor and scare us, like for example, if everyone thinks we're going to 31, which we've said on this channel, that's a former resistance level. Rarely do you not return to resistance levels that you blast through. Case in point, XRP back in July. You don't just blast through former resistance and not return it. But that makes a lot of sense what you're saying of dropping below there, because I think retail investors stay comfortable as long as we stay above 31,800, because, hey, yeah, it's former resistance level. We're good with that. The minute we dip down, I think you do get to see some of the super bears. And I say this kind of in jest, but I do respect these men. But you have the savvies. You have the crypto savvies. I've seen Blockchain Backer recently has kind of chimed in $10,000 or $3,000 range. Of course, Gareth Soloway still has some pretty bearish takes of the Bitcoin market. They're going to start speaking a little louder here. They're going to start rearing their heads. They're going to start saying, "I told you so." And we have to wait to see if they did. But it's the perfect scenario for the institutions to put that fear into retail investors, make them capitulate, like you said, and then they steal the supply from us, and the bull market gets away, and we're left. Maybe we entered this whole bull market with 1 Bitcoin or 3 Bitcoin, but then we capitulate, and we'll be lucky if we get back to half a Bitcoin by the time we feel comfortable coming back in. So that's a really interesting take. Really interesting take. I really like that.
Well, I mean, you look at COVID. I mean, do you remember? Were you trading when COVID happened? Because I remember when COVID happened, and I mean, like there were people that were so right. Yeah, dude,
I don't know if there's a special name for these investors in crypto. COVID was my entry. I am one of the people who took my checks from COVID to put into Bitcoin. That was my.
I'm going to coin it. I'm going to coin it right now. You're a cough coiner.
A cough coiner. All right. You heard it here first. I'm a cough coiner. So COVID is what got me in the first place.
That's where I bought my Microsoft, which I have not sold. I sold half of it to pay for some stuff, but I got a crazy entry on Microsoft buying basically the bottom of the pandemic. So
cool. Yeah. What does that make
Another
you? That's not a coin.
I don't know. A trad cougher. I don't know.
Trad cougher. Here we go.
I was just gonna say it's part of the pandemic. There, it was all him. It was him, so he could fill his bags. No, Another thing to keep an eye on for your audience, if you guys like high time frame stuff, which I like if you're an investor, and why 28K is important. It's your yearly open from 2021. 28,963, right? And the only reason I bring that up is through your yearly opens. There's your yearly open from 2018. There's your high, right? Yearly open right here wasn't as effective on the way down, but it was resistance before claimed. This is your yearly open from 2019. Not quite tagged, but got close. So that's why I like 28K as well. It's also a yearly open. It's a major, major level that opens and closes. And so to me, it's just attractive. And you can kind of see why right here. This is obviously 2022, but this was a good level to have on your chart even back then. And so it'll remain probably a decent level going forward. And it was okay right here. So the yearly opens are important. Obviously, we're well below the 2024 open right now. This is BLX, so it's not updated. But that's one thing to just kind of bear in mind. Keep those on your chart. So
yeah, that is a good take. Well, here's the thing, man. We got to now give a massive applause to Piano Matty B. Calling out that 28K level.
Yeah, I like it. I've never done a show with him, but I've seen him on other shows, and like I've always thought his the way he delivers TA and the way he does TA is just very unique. And he seems like a genuinely like one of the nicest people you ever meet. If you want my person, he looks like
he's Canadian,
a really nice guy. So now that's confirmed. It's confirmed. But he seems great. I've never had a show with him, but I have watched several where he's on there, and I just remember he caught my attention because I've never seen someone one with his display. I don't know if he did that for you guys, where he's got like up on the screen and does like the whole. That's cool. Like that's really cool.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
Yes. Yeah, he is. I tell people like he's one of my favorite technical analysts to watch, because here's the thing: is he's funny in the way he does it, and so I think some people don't take him seriously, and I'm like, no. This is a man who knows charts. He thinks through it. And then the brilliance of taking great technical analysis and putting humor to it with storytelling and creativity and pop culture. He is one of the more entertaining chartists I've ever seen. And so I love having him on. He actually was his first time on this channel. I had him on a Discover Crypto years ago, and I've been on some shows with him. It was really good. But it's cool seeing that confluence
you had him on Coffee and Crypto years ago.
What did I say?
You said Discover Crypto.
Yeah, because
It's okay.
Listen, you have so many channels with the word crypto in the name. That's why I'm really glad that we're investing bros, not crypto bros.
Right.
So I don't have to deal with another crypto thing. I love crypto. Just every channel has the word crypto in it at this point, and gotta get.
I was gonna ask you guys. Are you guys warm out there? By the way, are you guys warm or no? What's temps like where you guys are at?
Yesterday morning, I woke up at 4:30. I like to come in and do cold plunges and then work out in the mornings before getting the day going. Yesterday morning, when I woke up and walked outside, it was 11 degrees. That was the first time here in Georgia I've shivered. I like cold weather. I really like cold weather. I don't shiver very frequently. That one got me. 11 degrees got me. But it's like nothing compared to what you guys are getting over there in Kansas.
It's not great.
You guys get the negatives?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was wind chill was like -17, and we were like -4, high of like 4 degrees one day. Some days it was high of 2. It was a good time.
I've got to ask you because I know you're a big runner. Are you out there running in that, or you got a treadmill in the garage?
I'm standing on a treadmill right now.
Oh man,
I have a treadmill underneath my desk. So if I want to, I can walk on it. I've got like a 40-pound weighted vest over there. I'll strap on and I'll get a couple miles in, put the incline on.
Yeah.
Very nice.
But my dog,
my weighted vest is 60 pounds, just so everybody's keeping track.
Bad.
Yep.
Oh,
there we go.
But my dog, he's an Airedale Terrier, and they're like built for outdoors. And so like he still wants to go outside and stuff. It's crazy. When it was like -15, he went outside and he was out there for like an hour, and I had to like fight to get him to come inside. I was like, dude, what are you doing?
That's right there. That dog is a man.
It was his birthday on the 16th. I put it up on the old Twitter. It was his birthday on the 16th. So Baloo was actually a bear market acquisition named after a famous bear for a very good reason. When he made his debut, it was the day I took my short in March. So I tried to give people a heads up, not only tell them what I was doing, but I acquired a whole animal for this bear market, and he stuck around. So, yeah.
I'll tell you what. I have another trading. Oh, there we go. I have another trading show idea. We're going to get you and Jason Casper while you're live trading on your treadmills. Every minute that you're losing the trading war, you have to go up another mile per hour on your treadmill. And it's just, you just trade until one of you gives up,
He's a beast, man. I've seen him. Like that dude he is fit. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm fit, but like that he's definitely got some good genetics or something, because he's as old as I am looking that way. That's crazy.
I think when the camera's not on, he's doing handstand walks on the treadmill while trading with his feet.
He does look like one of those CrossFitters. Now that you bring it up, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I have a gym in my office. Like right on the other side of this is like a full rack setup, and I've got everything I need, dumbbells, all that stuff. Like this is I never leave. I don't have to leave my office if I don't want to.
That's nice. That's a flex right there. That's a flex.
Yeah. I actually moved in an orange sofa over here in the corner to match my backdrop wall.
Perfect.
And installed a pull-out TV so that my kids can come in here and play video games on it. So I can even sleep in here if I want. It's probably not the flex for finding a girlfriend, but that's not important. What's important is bull market gains.
Yes.
Stacking sats, right? Write that down, guys. That's the most important thing you need to hear.
It's true.
Stack those sats. I know that you do a lot. You focus a lot on Bitcoin. You trade in Bitcoin a lot, but that doesn't mean you don't dabble in the alts. Are there any alts catching your attention here recently that you're trading or you're looking to DCA in? Or
XRP.
Sure. XRP is a good one too. XRP, that one actually panned out well in the initial trade. The secondary trade, I don't know. I didn't take that one, but Solana, I've actually been targeting lower between $83 and like $73 for some time, just waiting on it. And it kind of front ran me here, which really kind of played with my emotions a little bit. But looking to get in lower on Solana in this region, and I'll actually get rid of some of this stuff because these are the averages, much like Bitcoin, that would appear there. But this was a major level just on the way up. And the reason it is, well, we had our the boxes of both prosperity and death and destruction here. So these lows, Yeah, these lows right here, you had a nice swing fail on the monthly, and then you have your monthly low. That's where this box comes from. So that's why it's between $80.83 and about $75. If you're living above this, good things happen. So there's a lot of high time frame averages that come in right at it, and a major point of control from the prior year. So for me, I'm looking for this area to get tagged, and I'd like to trade it. However, if you lose this region of the chart, look out below. This is a very aggressive move up, and it can be just as aggressive on the move down. So if I'm looking at Solana, there is also a pattern there for anyone that likes these. The timing on this one's a little sus though. I believe it's this guy. Yeah, we're looking for like a bat pattern. So this implies it's going to remain range bound. So what you notice is you don't ever take the highs, you don't ever take the lows. The most important thing to do is probably establish a channel. Like you could do something like this. We'll get rid of some of these boxes, kind of try to clean it up a little bit for your audience. And you're looking to do something like this. And the EQ is going to be very important. And the reason is anytime you have a range, you want to look at things emotionally like we just talked about. So everyone gets very excited here. Hey, new highs are coming. But in reality, you just had a deep retrace into the upper echelon of your range. And now you're going to cycle that range, but leave the range intact. And that's what gets most people is now they're really bearish and it bounces, right? And then they get bullish again where they shouldn't. So I'm looking to trade this like a range with this pattern potentially. And if I can get that entry, that would be sweet. Looking for the B leg again right here at the EQ, right around $96 from somewhere in this like sub $80 to $73 range. It'd be a nice little trade. And then I'll just pull a volume profile. Like, okay, my point of control also lines up very nicely with my initial target. That's why I would be, trading it. So that's kind of a setup I'm watching. I've been pretty patient on it. Obviously, time on it is saying probably like another week, but we'll see. We'll see what Bitcoin gives us here. But that's one I'm watching. I'm watching for new entries on Q&T. Q&T is one that I've been stacking a little bit of here and there. Traded it quite well. Looking to see if we come back down to this like $90 region. Anything below this, and this is actually like my major area that I'd like, we just kind of front ran it down in like the $63 to $53 range. Main reason being is this is a coin that I'm looking at as an accumulation range. And the accumulation range on this one would look something like this, where you're basically pulling from the high down to assuming these are the lows. And I would be saying, okay, where do I want to accumulate? I want to accumulate in the bottom half of this. So if I can get more entries down here, I think that that's a good place to put on some additional spot risk. And I would trade these eventually, like to break this accumulation range when the bull market gets going, hold these long term and take it back up towards the highs even potentially. So that's a good one. XRP, we should revisit that one. I have not looked at this chart in a little bit. I think I did an update on this one on the old Twitter. But yeah, XRP here, you got to hang on to 56 cents and 54. And if you're losing that, we've said 47 is your target. Anything under 47, and I actually think that you probably come all the way back down to like this 29-cent region, which XRP in its history has done that type of thing before. It's one of those coins that really punishes the people holding it. And it's unfortunate. It did have a really good high time frame reversal. I have, do I have a fork for that one? I believe I do when you go to the weekly for this. I'll show you something here that you can do with these harmonics, right? I know a lot of people trade them and a lot of people don't trade them. So if you're not familiar, I apologize, but you maybe consider it. Scott Carney's got a website up that's harmonictrader.com, and the information's pretty much free on there. He does sell his 3 volumes to harmonic trading and like an indicator if you wanted it, but he's got a lot of really good free information for all these too. So when you see something like this, everybody talks about like Fibonacci tools. Fibonacci pitchfork is a really big one. So we're just using the pivot points of the actual harmonic itself to look for a channel in this case. You can see we've hit the channel EQ and you've come down. One thing that you can do is you can adjust the function of it, like the trajectory. So original is actually for a trending market, right? So this is your trending market. You actually back tested a trending market from these pivot points perfectly. So it was just another confluence to our horizontal level. But what you want to do is go to like inside in this case. And the reason you want to go to inside is that implies consolidation, meaning what did you do? You broke above your EQ here. You went straight to the high of the pitchfork in your consolidation. If you broke above this 95-cent level, which would have been a major change of behavior on like a monthly and 3-month chart, we probably have some targets at like 157 to talk about. But in fact, you back tested your trend. You've come up to the consolidation high in terms of like how I should be projecting a channel for future price action. You've come back down to the EQ. You've bounced off the 47-cent horizontal, also your EQ of your upper channel. If you lose this, you're coming down. You may even make new lows. So you have to keep that in mind. One of my favorite ways to look at this is modified shift. And I'll tell you the reason why is this is actually a perfectly parallel channel. There's many ways to get these. And you can actually do it with the pitchfork as well. So I just use them to project a parallel channel and add in like a 50% mark here and a 50% mark up here if you ever reach it. That way, you kind of have like an idea of, okay, this is a good area to maybe lock in some profit if I took this long. This is a good area of value. If I don't want to get too far into the weeds of like other technicals, these are just levels. Okay, I should be looking for longs in this region. I should be looking for, taking profit or shorts in this region. So yeah, losing 47 would not look good. I would actually target closer to 29 again and potentially lower over time. And that would be a very bad looking chart considering this is all just lower highs. And all you did right here is take the high and then dump. So yeah, I would change my thesis and opinion on XRP quite a bit. It would not go well for the army, and I'll get a lot of hate for it, but
yeah.
It is what it is. I get a lot of hate anyway from the XRP army because I told them it was going to 29 cents in June of 2021. And the amount of I got hundreds of comments on that video on TikTok. And the things people said to me was crazy. People were, the name was out there. This guy's an idiot, all this stuff. I actually screenshotted all of them. And I put them on a Twitter post after it hit my target. And then I went back and I sent them all a kissy face and let them know that I'm thinking of them at 29 cent XRP.
Made some friends.
I did. And I actually put a buy limit order there with some leverage and played this just so that they could see that not only did I give them the level, I did trade it as well. So
that was the chapter of making friends and influencing people that got redacted from the book. But it's a great chapter about if people make fun of you, when you're right, send them kissy faces.
You want to kill them with kindnesses,
Yes,
that's it.
Yes.
Just kisses. Yeah.
I love it.
We have a super chat here from Army Piper. Now I asked him, let's see here. I want to make sure I get the right coin. He said, He said, Tim, ask Mim about the 0.66 fib. Much love, Mim.
It's not a fib. It is a GAN number that a very popular trader fell in love with and uses it for that reason. Oftentimes this market is liquidity driven, so you'll see swing failure patterns. So if you get a gold pocket, a lot of times you'll come up and push past it. That's generally the play he's talking about. So is it valid? You could put it on your chart if you can trade swing failure patterns well. The 0.66 fib in that case, if you want to call it that, is actually not a bad idea. To me, I just leave it at the 0.65 and call it a day. But I do get a little like TA snobby at times because like I'm a book guy, But it is a GAN level originally. That's where it came from. As the person who coined it and made it popular was a big fan of WD GAN for anyone that's familiar with him. And
that's the new fact. That's the new factoid of the day right there. There.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. Unfortunately, I approach crypto a lot like a textbook. So it's one of those things where I don't know. It's a little very black and white to me. Sometimes charts are.
Jonathan Derby asking if I got my stake yet. Not yet. I'll be getting that stake this weekend when Tim and I are down in Naples at Bitcoin Day, which we invited everybody to here. Hopefully, we're going to be able to meet up with some of you guys, which, by the way, reach out to us on Discord or X, wherever you want to. Let us know you're going to be there if you're going. But I would say it's probably too late to plan for something like that.
It's going to be 67 degrees down there in Naples, Florida, which will be the warmest I have seen in a while. So
we're almost above freezing here. I'm pretty excited about it.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff right there. Well, as we're wrapping up today's show with your Magic Internet Money, first of all, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all the alpha you're bringing the channel. Where can people find you and see more of your stuff?
I'm predominantly active on Twitter. I actually don't produce a lot of video content anymore. I know that's disappointing to people, but I talk enough when I go on other people's shows is how I look at it. I can fill up an hour very quickly. So I go on, anywhere from Crypto Wars to you guys. I'm on Sin City every single Tuesday on their show.
Nice.
But Twitter's probably the best place. At some point, I do want to get back into producing some YouTube content. So if you want to follow me on there, that will pick back up. But just one of those things where Twitter's probably the best place. That's where I interact with people the most. I do a fair amount of trolling though. So, I do it with an open heart. I send kissy faces out when I'm done. But if you guys like dog pictures, memes, and
for all of us who were here at the beginning of the show, it's because he has manners.
I do. Yeah,
absolutely.
I do. I have
Lots of
I
kissy
do. You
face.
got to take the high road, you know. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, Twitter's probably best right now, just because. And then you know, I don't really like push a whole lot of stuff. It's one of those things where like I make very high time frame predictions on Twitter. I don't do a lot of the day trading stuff. So if you guys are just wanting like,
Yeah.
hey, where do you stand on this in the cycle? If I don't know, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
But generally, I'll give you what my high time frame targets are. I used to, on my old channel before it was taken down on YouTube, back in 2019 and 2020. I used to tell people like I can literally tell you where price is going to go, and investors will still F it up. And the reason is because price doesn't go up or down in a straight line, and people get emotional, right? Like the 32K before we went up to 48, 49K, when I came out, I was like, okay, it'll be January if you guys want 50K, give or take. How many people got washed out into a bearish narrative between 32K and 49K? You know?
Yeah.
Many.
Yeah.
It took 6 months, you know, is what it took to change their entire thesis on this bull market almost in some cases.
But not
a
the
lot of people were
bros.
sidelined. This took off. Yeah, then it rose, and then we're all geniuses again. We're all rich. We're all getting girlfriends. But yeah, it's one of those things where, that's what I'd say is just come over to Twitter, interact with me. I'll interact back. I try to respond to everyone, and I do always respond politely. So
there we go.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Good
stuff. Well, thank you so much for being here, man. Anytime you want to come on, just hit me up. You have another.
Yeah, no,
if you want to come talk on
show.
YouTube, come talk here.
Yeah, no, I love coming on your guys' show. You guys are great. Like, I think this is one of the first shows I ever went on when I started doing interviews was with you guys on Coffee and Crypto, and it was Tim that hooked it up because we were on a different show together, and he was like, "I got to get this guy on here." So, great connections. You guys are awesome. Thanks for having me.
For sure.
Awesome. Talk to you later, man.
Take it easy.
See you guys.
What a guy. What a guy. I love it. Yeah, there's a lot of good alpha in there. A lot of stuff I got to go back and take a look at some charts. Did a lot of long-term price action on Bitcoin and on some of those altcoins as well. So we'll have to keep those updated. Keep an eye on those. Right now, Bitcoin is pushing up here. I don't know, T. Schumer, if we're going to get into any news today. We'll just have to save some news for your news show tomorrow. Because we have a super chat from RC Moore we got to get to. We got to take a look at some of these charts a little more in depth. We get a nice macro look. We do have some short time frame things we have to look at. We are seeing here's what I will say is if you're looking for a positive here, guys. Piper, thank you for the super chat. I did remember, but that's a good reminder. Even the same. High volume coming in here towards the bottom. After here's where, guys, if you guys watched my video this morning, I told you guys, despite the fact that I thought we were going to potentially break to the upside, so that's where I got it wrong. But I did say, hey, this is why you have to have a plan to the upside or downside. And I literally said, look at this support level. If we break below it with high volume, or we back test it and retest it as resistance, look for moves to the downside. Well, that's exactly what has happened here. Not only do we actually increase the volume on the way out of it, we then retested and kissed the line just perfectly. I don't know if this move is over. Even though we're bouncing right now, we're seeing some good volume come in, giving us a temporary stop. So don't be surprised if we actually potentially even come back up either to another support level back here that we might turn into resistance 41.6, or even if we come all the way back up to the support level, the rising symmetrical triangle pattern. This is still something to keep an eye on. And I gave you guys some different levels. I want to remind you of what that could look like and how things could get ugly here. The first one, more conservative breakout, we are looking at here on this little symmetrical triangle pattern. If you come over here and move to the breakout position, this would take us down to about 39,600. What is 39,600? That's a level a lot of people are talking about for CME Gap. The CME Gap, I'm going to talk about that here in just a second, guys, because 39,600 is really not what we're looking at for the CME Gap. I'll explain in a second. There's a more disastrous, or should I say aggressive, bear scenario playing out that could happen if you go to that top 49. That is a little flagpole right there, guys, and this was a bear pennant. Move it over to where we last touched our resistance level within that pennant. This could take us down to some levels we actually were referring to on more macro timelines with Magic Internet Money, down towards $36,000. Of course, when you kind of zoom out and you turn on some of your other indicators, 36K, you're going to find some other confluence saying that level is significant. Let's see. I guess you got to go out to longer time frames here to see that. We have order blocks coming in down here. Nothing. I want you guys to look at this daily chart. There is not a single order block on the chart before or above $36,000. So There's a reason to potentially think that could happen. Now, Gregor, we're going to get to the super chat here in a second about Shido. Gregor Machaj, I don't know, Mekage, Gregor Mikage. We're going to go with it. 38,656 gap closed. Wonder why you think the gap is closed.
Not on my chart.
Not on my chart. And let's talk about this for a second here, guys. That level, again, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter today saying 39.6, 39.6, 39.6, because 39.6 is going to close our little gap. Let me explain to you why that is false. Well, let me explain to you why there's a little bit of misinformation on the internet from other influencers, and I love these influencers. Some of them, I hope they have great lives. This is what they're looking at right here. If you come back to where the gap was created, back here on Friday, the 1st of December, over into Monday, the 4th, right? There's a big gap on CME because we don't trade during the weekend. And this is the temptation that some influencers are tempted to look at. They go to the top of the wick of the Friday. I'm going to explain to you guys that that's false. I've explained this before, but I'm going to explain again why it's false. They come to where the gap is, and then they say, all right, so we have to come back down here to 39.6. There's two reasons why we have to go lower. The first one is just staying on this chart. Guys, let's think through. If you guys know technical analysis, what does a candle tell us? Well, if it's a bullish candle, in this case, the white candle, the bottom of the candle body is where the day opens. The lowest wick is the lowest price that we got to during that day. The upper wick is the highest price we got to on that day. But the candle body close, that is where the price action closed when the day was over, right? So price didn't jump on the Friday close from 39.6 all the way up to 40,400. No. We made it up there, but we pulled back, and we closed on Friday at 39,200. That's where price was on Friday, December 1st when it closed. It opened up here. So the gap does not go down to 39.6. It goes all the way down to 39,200. That's reason number one why 39.6, if we go to fill this gap, is not the bottom. The second reason why is, okay, I'll put it this way. If you guys are trading CME futures, yeah, all right, you need 39.2, right? That's the level. Let's put that number up there. 39.2 is what you guys need. However, the problem is most of you are not trading CME futures. Most of you are trading on normalized exchanges. And let's just take a look. Right now, it's really actually not that bad. Currently, CME coming in at $41,050. Bitcoin price is sitting at $40,900. So we have about a $200 discrepancy. But a lot of times we can see anywhere as volatile as over $1,000. But let's just keep it somewhere more conservatively around $500. Well, that means, guys, if we're waiting for the CME price action to get down to 39,200, more than likely we are looking somewhere in the higher $38,000 range on normal price action charts. Where does that kind of put us? Well, that kind of puts us in the camp of what we're looking at, with lower time frame here of order blocks coming in here. Let's turn on some more order blocks. You can see right here. Let's see. This is the 4-hour chart coming in. We have down here towards down 4,500. Let's go up here to 8 hour, chart. We had more order blocks coming in here towards 30. There we go. Well, it actually goes a little lower. It goes all the way down below $38,000 where we have some more order blocks. If we do not hold the one up here above $40,000, we've got a big fall before we actually hit those levels. You also are going to see when we start moving into liquidations. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin liquidations. We're going to have to go a little long today to get that super chat, but I wanted to refresh this and let you guys look at shorter time frame stuff. Magic Internet Money did a great job giving us some great targets for longer term. But check out right now. Today we have taken out this big chunk of liquidations in the $42,000 to $41,000 range. Where's the next chunk of change coming in? $38,300, $38,000 range. Guys, if we see 39.6 and you're thinking, oh, I'll buy the bottom at 39.6 because that's the CME gap, you're going to be mistaken. And even more so, if we get below 40,000, 39.6 is not where we're stopping. We are probably more than likely at least going to be seeing a lower $38,000 price action. If not, coming down to the next big level, and this is another level Magic Internet Money mentioned as a major level, all the way down towards $34,000. So, didn't mean to burst anyone's bubble. And again, I really was hoping and looking at the potential of a move to the upside. Of course, you guys can see on here, we have liquidations up here, and someday, whether it's next week or in 5 months, we will clear out these liquidations at above $50,000. But the more and more we see us breaking further to the downside, guys, I can't believe I'm saying this. Jim Cramer might have called the top of Bitcoin. 49,000 might have been the top. It's a weird sentence that just came out of my mouth. It throws off everything I believe about crypto, that Jim Cramer might have been right. But that's the world we live in today. T-shirt, and we're gonna answer this super chat in a minute and probably close out. Thoughts from you.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a 1 minute news coverage. You ready for this?
This is
Bitcoin surpasses silver to become second largest ETF commodity in the U.S. Bullish. Okay. Donald Trump is the latest Republican to use the CBDC as a dog whistle. I like that phrasing. Tonight, I'm also making another promise to the Americans to protect Americans from government tyranny. As your president, I will never allow the creation of a central bank digital currency. I was supposed to do the impression, and I didn't. Sorry. Marie Lagarde, the ECB president, says it's likely that the ECB will cut rates by the summer. Okay, so that's kind of earlier forecast than what we're seeing here domestically from the U.S. Fed. And then she also says, I think interest rates have reached their peak. That's a little late of a call there. But why is this important? Because we do have the big one, the FOMC meeting in January 30th and 31st. So that'll be something to keep on our calendar. We'll definitely be bringing it to you. Tim, we're going to look at that super chat chart.
Yeah, let's do it. It was Shido. So I'm looking at Shido USDT over on MEXC here. So couple things here. I will say, this has had a nice rally here, guys. I'm sure you guys are asking because of all the bullishness, but I want to bring to your attention reasons why we could be about to fall. Now, it's not confirmed. I'm going to show you what you need to see for it to be confirmed. To confirm that, I am going to be looking at LuxAlgo indicators. Highly recommend them. If you want to be trading, check out LuxAlgo today. Fantastic indicator. You're going to see a lot of flashes here. Let me talk about the positives right now, and then I'll get to the negatives. Positive. Here in the money flow oscillator here, this is the LuxAlgo oscillator. Money flow was flowing to the upside. We had an overextended amount of buyers, which is always a positive thing. We got above our trend assistant on that money flow, and we got some bright green coming in here on the oscillator trend. These are the things you want to see to be bullish. However, while it's still bullish right now, and I need to see some things confirm this, watch out for a couple of things. First of all, our oscillator is moving to the downside with bearish momentum matching a red reversal triangle. Now, those alone could get ignored. Here's where things start to become a problem. I'm looking here as I zoom in. We're seeing the outflow of these excessive buyers, and we're seeing the money flow start to curve down. Now, it's still really high, but I've seen a lot of times where to market top, you don't have to wait for money flow to be red. You don't have to wait for this to turn back to soft green or even go blank. You see the oscillator and the money flow and the excessive buyers keel over and start moving downwards, and you get the reversal flashes, a lot of times you're seeing a top marked here on the 4-hour chart. That's not it. There's also a free indicator that LuxAlgo has called the RSI multi-length. This is an indicator you guys can see here right now. It's coming down, but that's also because the price is coming down. When we got up here to the peak, we were well over 100% overbought. This is a cool indicator. Again, you can get it right now for free. Just type in RSI multi-length. You'll see it. It's a LuxAlgo indicator. Every time you see flashes of green, we're overextended. Just take a look here at how price action has responded before. This has been great at calling tops. When it flashes red, it's great at calling bottoms. In fact, one of the members in our Discord who's been trading has found a great strategy using this free indicator, and he's been killing it in the scalping game. But seeing this on a larger time frame, let me see if it's on the daily chart too. Yeah, this is where you really hate to see it. It's flashing on the daily here as well. This is a overbought indicator right now, flashing 100% overbought. You do not like to see that on these long time frames. Watch out for pullbacks. We do have some order blocks here, heavy order blocks at 0.4 cents. Also, some more with this rally kind of began at 0.1 cent. There could be some ugly pullback here, and especially loved with all the macro TA we talked about with Magic Internet Money. Guys, guess what? If the macro on Bitcoin is going to move as far south as he is saying, I do not see a scenario where the altcoins enter into an altcoin rally and Bitcoin plummets upwards of another 20 to 30%. Not going to happen. And smaller altcoins like Shido Shido, I don't know how it's pronounced. They're going to suffer even more than some of the large caps, the blue chips. So good coin. Hope you took your profit. If you didn't, go ahead and take that profit. Maybe start looking for a short position, in my opinion, here on Shido. But thank you for the super chat. Guys, it's 4:05. It's time for us to get on out of here. It was a great show. Make sure you guys smash that like button and hit subscribe if you loved hearing Daily TA. We didn't get into news today, but that's all right. We usually cover the news every single day. Quick update for you guys. We will have an 8:30 video tomorrow morning, and we will have the 9 a.m. live stream with T-Shroom covering the morning news. But because we are going to be in a vehicle tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock, there will be no Friday live show, and there will be no Saturday live show because we will be down there in Naples, Florida. I'm going to be buying T-Shroom a steak. I'm going to video it. It's going to be at least $35. If it gets to 36 though, he's paying for it. That's the rest of it. That's on him. But I'll pay $35 at Longhorn Steakhouse for his steak because he won the bet.
What about the sides?
ETF approval.
Is it just the steak has to be 35, or can the side?
I will cover $35 of your check. Of your check is what I'm covering.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Changing
so
up the
You do
rules.
have to get steak. You can have some fries. You can have some macaroni or something, but you have to have steak, and it has to be medium rare.
What if I get struck by the vegan lightning tonight, and then I go vegan the rest of my life?
Okay.
Then what?
All right. Well, that's one thing we can talk about. Guys, that's all we have for you in today's show. It's been a fun, despite the fact the prices are down, we're still here having fun.
We are.
Make sure you guys are part of the group, part of the channel. We'll see you tomorrow morning. You guys have a fantastic evening.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.